Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick, joined by Justin once more. How are you?
Doing well, man. Yourself?
I'm doing excellently, because once again we have more X-Wing 2.0 spoilers.
Always more.
That phrase has been drilled into my head over the past month. I swear, we're going to finish this and then we'll be sort of caught up with everything that happened over the past month, and then tomorrow there'll be another leak.
Well,
Feels a bit like that.
Eventually it'll get to the point where it's all come out and we're like, what do we do now?
What do we do now? I guess we have to play the game now.
Yeah.
But for now, yes, we had that large Rebel conversion kit spoiled from the UK Gaming Expo, and we talked about all the pilots the other day. Today we're going to look at all the unique Rebel upgrade cards. I will go on to talk about all the other upgrade cards as well, like all the generic bombs, missiles, torpedoes, crew, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to do a separate video on each of those different types of upgrades so we can compare them to the old types and new types and talk about the design direction. But I want to make separate videos for those. Before we get started, I do want to point out as well that there does seem to be some gaps in this. For whatever reason, these images did not include the card Maul, and Maul should be in this pack.
Well, I hope so. It should be.
It seems like he should have been amongst these crew cards, and maybe he was just skipped over by the person revealing them. I did get the impression, looking at these pictures, that there does seem to be a few gaps, and it looks like the person doing it may have skipped over some of the things. Oh, we already know what those are, and he sort of just skips to the new stuff. I can't really tell, and it is important to note, yes, there definitely are some gaps. There's this card here as well, listening device, which relates to another card which was not revealed. So this is not 100% complete. From that point of view, I cannot confirm that there are things missing that have not been shown. I just can't confirm that for the time being. We will talk about the things that were left out for the time being, and if any of those are incorrect, I'll make another video later on and correct myself and all that kind of stuff. But for the time being, let's talk about what we do see. So we're going to go through alphabetically through all of these, all the upgrade types in one. We're not going to go separately. Starting off with the crew card Baze Malbus.
While you perform a focus action, you may treat it as red. If you do, gain one additional focus token for each enemy ship at range 0 to 1 to a maximum of 2.
This is...
Yeah.
It's weird. It's nothing like his old one. The old Baze Malbus allowed you to take a bonus primary attack against another target if you miss an attack. So this is nothing like the original Baze Malbus. Kind of like the old Jyn Erso, though. How you net a whole bunch of focus tokens for having a certain amount of enemy ships in your firing arc. Except this is about being near to ships. I don't know. This one's really hard to gauge. What do you reckon, Justin?
It's certainly playable.
I feel like moving forward, there's a lot of really good aggro Rebel stuff. Like Saw Gerrera in his 2.0 form seems to be a bit of an upgrade on the old one. And there's lots of Rebel guys that want to be in range 1 of their opponent, which is very interesting. I guess it makes sense. There's always a lot of aggression in the Empire, but they don't play around with positioning as much as Rebels do. That seems to be a uniquely Rebel thing, and this just plays more into that. Yeah. I think there's going to be at least one really good aggro Rebel list in the meta moving forward, but whether or not it includes this is yet to be seen, but this is definitely an indication of that design moving forward.
Yeah. So, and also just remember, this isn't talking about arcs or anything, so it is literally any ship around you.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of things are talking about arcs these days, so this is interesting. That range bubble seems to be a bit more sought after. Just pure positioning and proximity. Alright, next we have the gunner card, Bistan. After you perform a primary attack, if you are focused, you may perform a bonus arc attack against a ship you have not already attacked this round. This looks legit. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Bistan. Basically, what focused means is you must have a focus token. So I look at this and I think to myself, if there's a way to cheat focus tokens onto your ship, it's going to make it a bit more efficient. I'm specifically looking at this with Lando Calrissian, because Lando's pilot ability can give you a free action, which could either be move the arc or get a focus token. And in either scenario, that's going to be really powerful. It's going to help unlock Bistan. Yeah. And it also means he's initiative 5, so you get a lot of information. He's probably going to fly last in a lot of scenarios. And you're going to line up double shots quite often, which is really good.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be a good card.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe only got a card that can shoot twice at the same mobile firing arc. Okay. You could theoretically shoot out a mobile firing arc if it overlaps your primary firing arc. I don't know if that's a doable thing right now. But this one clearly says, yes, it can be the same arc. It could even be the different one. There's a lot of versatility in this card. And yes, Bestowed on Lando is something I'm looking at very closely for the time being.
C-3PO. Before rolling defense dice, you may spend 1 calculate token to guess aloud number 1 or higher. If you do and you roll exactly that many evade results, add 1 evade result. After you perform the calculate action, gain 1 calculate token.
It also gives the ship you're on the calculate action. Obviously, this is representative of what C-3PO was doing in scenarios like in The Empire Strikes Back, where he was helping Han calculate. Sorry, say helping in inverted commas. Yeah,
The odds of him helping it's 75 million to 1.
Pretty much. However, it is worth pointing out that mathematically speaking, 2 calculate tokens are a little bit better most of the time than 1 focus token. Because you have the ability to spend it across multiple defenses or a defense and attack or even multiple attacks, because we know that's possible now as well. It is worth pointing out that you can no longer guess 0, which kind of sucks. The old C-3PO, you just guess a number, and of course everyone always guessed 0 because that's how you break the card, and FFG stated we never intended for that to happen. They just didn't foresee that circumstance. Having to guess 1 or more... it kind of sucks. In any case, we know that C-3PO is very expensive, or at least the rumours are he's about 30 points. And people are saying this is mainly because he gives you extra evade results, and that's pretty sacrosanct in X-Wing 2.0 moving forward.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's worth 30 points if that's the case. Look, I'm not going to take that as gospel. This is just word of mouth stuff.
Yeah, because C-3PO was... how many points?
It was 3 points originally. Which is fine. He was a really good card, but really good with certain combinations, and he was pushed a bit too far because he could guess 0.
Yeah.
But now that he can't, I don't think he needs to be that expensive. So, look, we'll see what happens. Moving on to Cassian Andor. During the system phase, you may choose 1 enemy ship at range 1 to 2 and guess aloud the bearing and speed. Then look at the ship's dial. If the chosen ship's bearing and speed match your guess, you may set your dial to another maneuver. Now, on the face of it, this does look like a functional reprint, but it is worth noting that it does say range 1 to 2, which in the language of X-Wing 2nd editions means you can't be touching that ship. That's the only difference in this card. The system phase basically replaces everything that happens before activation, which is what the older Cassian Andor used to do. Apart from that, yeah, just a slight nerf. Don't really know if this needed much of a nerf.
Didn't get much play to begin with.
No, but it's a very interesting ability, and considering the space we're moving to in 2nd edition, this might be quite powerful. I don't want to say it's definitely rubbish, but there's a high chance it is.
So, Chewbacca. He has 2 energy. At the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 2 energy to repair 1 face-up damage card.
Also worth noting, there's a little carrot next to that too, which means those 2 do come back.
Yeah.
So over the course of 2 turns, you'll get him completely replenished to the point where you can use his ability again. And that's pretty good. It means there's only 1 turn where the ability's down, and it's repeatable regen. That's pretty good. No. It's only face-up damage cards, so you're not likely to get multiples of them chained together.
Well, they do want us to have more.
That's true. That's true, and if you do, you're going to be really happy you have Chewbacca. I mean, we don't know the points. He might be really expensive. Repeatable regen is something that is dangerous, but I don't think this is too dangerous. I think this is fair enough.
Yeah.
A complete rework of the old Chewbacca. Once you dealt a damage card, you can discard Chewbacca and a damage card and repair a shield. It basically could give your old ship a second lease on life because you're giving yourself a swing of 2 damage back in your favour.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think this is a bit better, but not too good. I think this is fair. Alright, moving on to the Astromech version of Chopper. Spend 1 non-recurring charge from another equipped upgrade card to recover 1 shield. Action, spend 2 shields to recover 1 non-recurring charge on an equipped upgrade. So, Chopper isn't just discarding any old card to recover shields or whatever. Basically, that first action is the same as getting rid of upgrade cards. If you had extra munitions in the old version, you could get rid of those tokens instead.
Yeah.
And that's basically the same as charges on those cards. But the fact that you can spend 2 shields to get back an upgrade could be pretty big. I'm trying to think of...
all of a sudden to get back, like, a proton torpedo?
Yeah, or like, if there's... If you get, like, a big, dumb advanced proton torpedo and you just have to fire it at your opponent to finish them off. I like that a lot. It seems really dangerous, but it seems really fun at the same time. Yeah. I mean, look, let's not beat around the bush. You're spending 2 shields.
Yeah.
You have to have the shields to begin with, so if it's down to the wire, you're probably not going to have shields. And B, it's 2 damage. That is a big cost for anything in the game of X-Wing.
Yeah, but spending 2 damage to deal possibly like 5.
That's the whole thing, yeah. You have to have those scenarios where it's worth it, and it will happen sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to hear that story of a tournament where we used the second ability on Chopper and it just swung this game and somebody won this major tournament. But it's not going to be frequent. This is going to be few and far between. It's a really cool ability. I like that new design space. I like that they've given him a bit more versatility. I don't think that second ability breaks him or anything like that. I think it'll be fun.
Next we have the Chopper Crew card. During the perform action step, you may perform 1 action, even while stressed. After you perform an action while stressed, suffer 1 damage unless you expose one of your damage cards. Fairly similar, except it's only during the perform action step, and you also now can choose to expose one of your damage cards instead of suffering the damage.
Yeah, so a bit less versatile and a bit more versatile at the same time.
Yeah.
Seems good. It means he doesn't work with advanced sensors or coordinate, which seems fair enough. Chopper was a free upgrade in version 1, and pretty much that was the reason he saw play.
Yeah.
In those really cheap Lothal Rebel builds. I remember that old Lothal Rebel build with 2 Lothal Rebels and a Y-Wing. There's no downside to taking him, and that's the main thing. If he's still 0 points, you'll see play. If he's like 1 point, I still think you'll see play.
Yeah.
If that's kind of like the old speak for half a point. Because I think this is going to be relevant enough of the time to be worth half a point, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I don't think he's going to rock anything in particular. I don't think there's any strategy that requires you to take actions while stressed, especially not moving forward. There seems to be less combos. And I think this is just going to be an okay card. It was just an okay card in first edition. I think it'll be just an okay card in second edition.
Yeah.
Moving on to Ezra Bridger, a gunner card. After you perform a primary attack, you may spend 1 force to perform a bonus turret attack from a turret you have not attacked from this round. If you do, and you are stressed, you may reroll 1 die. And he comes with 1 recurring point of force as well, which is really cool. If you happen to take Ezra on a force user like Kanan Jarrus, that could be a lot of fun. We assume the Ghost still has a turret and probably has a gunner as well. We don't know whether or not that's the case yet, but considering these Rebel characters are getting gunner cards, I'm pretty confident it will. And if the Ghost gets a turret, it means theoretically you could use the turret attack over the top of your primary attack and shoot twice out the same arc.
Ooh, yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it seems really good.
You could also shoot out the back twice as well if you've got...
Yes, that's true. If you've got the docked Phantom 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Seems really good. This is basically a veteran turret gunner, except you get that extra bonus and you have to spend a force. So I don't know how that's going to work out points-wise. I think it's going to be a bit more because just giving the force to any ship is good.
Yeah.
It's just a nice soft buff across all your dice, and I think that alone is going to make these cards very, very valuable.
Next we have Han Solo, also a gunner. During the engagement phase, at Initiative 7, you may perform a turret attack. You cannot attack from that turret again this round.
And this is another kind of version of the veteran turret gunner, except you get a quick shot at Initiative 7.
Yep.
Han shot first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shot first and he shot well.
FFG are really pushing that notion with this and Legion, which I quite like.
Yeah, it makes me happy. They're just like, no. He shot.
And yeah, it's another thing that lets you take a shot out of a turret and you can't shoot again from that turret. Seems fair enough. Again, might be good on the Ghost if you're allowed to do the double tap out at the same arc. We'll have to wait and see how that works.
Yeah.
But seems really good. A bit of an upgrade on the veteran turret gunner and probably a bit more expensive. Doesn't give you a force, obviously. It's Han Solo.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about now, though, is we're seeing all these unique characters, again, only printed once. I made this comment in first edition why they didn't get like an old Han and a young Han, because it wouldn't have confused us. We would have... just a different, unique version of Han. Now we have different types of upgrade slots in the gunners. Are we going to see crew versions of Han or crew versions of Luke, for example? Or a gunner version of Leia?
Well, I mean, like, you've seen 2 versions of Chopper, so theoretically...
Yeah, and 2 versions of R2 as well. That's a very good point, yeah. And I think that would make sense, but we'll see what happens moving forward.
And even then, we've also got old Han for...
Yeah, Old Han and the Resistance. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to those Resistance cards. So we have Old Han, Luke, and Leia. I think that'd be really cool. Next up, we have Hera Syndulla, a crew card. You may execute red maneuvers even while stressed. After you fully execute a red maneuver, if you have 3 or more stress tokens, remove 1 stress token and suffer 1 damage. So functionally, this is the same as the old Hera card, except of that caveat: if you have 3 or more stress, they start to overflow into damage.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
It's very fair. But in terms of design, this is basically harkening back to the fact that, yes, we're not letting you just stack tokens over and over and over again. The Moldy Crow no longer gets infinite eyeball tokens. You can't just stack stress up into the heavens.
Well, I think
it has to take some kind of negative effect on your ship eventually. It's kind of like the Ezra builds now, or like the old Dengaroo builds, where with these ships just used to run around with all these stress tokens. And I think at a certain point, your ship just should start taking damage if it's that stressed. I always thought that was kind of weird, and this is good. I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, you're like, okay, keep it under 2 stress. Next, we have Jyn Erso. If a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 would gain a focus token, it may gain 1 evade token instead. So this card is kind of a better version of Jan Ors.
Yeah, we don't have Jyn Erso's ability anymore, and Jyn Erso and Jan Ors in first edition overlapped a lot, where they were manipulating with green tokens. I mean, it's better to consolidate that into one. Maybe Jan Ors will come back into the game down the track at some stage. But this is really good, because it looks on the face of it to be a functional reprint of Jan Ors, but this does not have a once per round cap. There's no charge counters, there's no text as 1 per round. You can just do this over and over again. If you're flying alongside a whole heap of B-Wing, they can just take a bunch of evade tokens.
Yeah.
It seems really, really powerful, particularly in swarms that just don't have evade actions.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. This could be really good. We don't know the costing. Jan Ors with 2 points. This might be 5-6 points in
Newspeak.
In Newspeak. Jan Ors, I guess, would be 4 points in Newspeak. So this seems really powerful and not too abusable. There's no real benefit of having multiple evade tokens, especially now that the evade tokens don't do as much as they used to. They only convert one of your dice. They don't add a result. But still really, really good. I'm particularly looking at this with swarms. In fact, this and another card with swarms.
Oh,
I'm looking. Yeah, I know. You know what I'm thinking of. We'll talk about that in a tick. Before that, we're going to talk about Kanan Jarrus. Another crew card. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 fully executes a white maneuver, you may spend 1 force to remove 1 stress from that ship, and he has a replenishing force token. So the difference is you must fully execute your maneuvers to get the benefit of Kanan Jarrus. And he has to spend a force token, so there's a bit of downside, but there's also the upside of giving a force token to any ship he's on, so I think that's fair.
Yeah, well, a lot of cards, FFG said that you had to complete the maneuver to get the ability.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's like in the original version of the game, if you bump when you do a red maneuver, you don't even get to flip your ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Bumping should have a significant downside. Yes, I know it empowers blocking, and in first edition, letting ships power through blocking, getting certain tokens even when they're blocked, was a way of countering that, but this is a whole rebalancing of the game, and the precedent they're setting is you must execute your maneuvers fully, and they've managed to rebalance with that in mind, so I think that's okay. And Kanan Jarrus, I think overall is a little bit better just because of that force token. 100%. I'm never going to complain about that. Oh, by the way, force tokens are always good when you get blocked. That's one of the things about force.
Oh, yeah.
Force is fundamentally a thing that can push your ship a bit further than it otherwise would get.
Yeah, because you're able to use the force tokens.
Yeah, because they just stay on your ship the whole time. That's really, really powerful. So, yeah, there seems to be a lot of upside from Kanan Jarrus. And, I like the card a lot. I think this is a fair reworking for the card in second edition. Still really powerful. I still think it's going to do some disgusting things like it used to, but at least we don't have the Force Awakens Millennium Falcon title to contend with anymore.
Next we have Lando Calrissian. Action. Roll 2 defense dice. For each focus result, gain 1 focus token. For each evade result, gain 1 evade token. If both results are blank, the opposing player chooses focus or evade. You gain 1 token of that type.
So this takes away the significant downside of Lando in first edition, where if you just roll double blank, you get nothing.
Yeah.
It is your opponent's choice what you get. So
They will choose the worst of the two.
Exactly. They'll always choose the worst thing for you unless you happen to counterfly it and then utilize whatever they gave you. But that's not like... And I think it's good that it does negate that downside because that was one of the reasons that Lando didn't see real consistent play. I think there are scenarios where you have Lando and you're going to go, a focus or a evade are pretty inconsequential. I don't mind which one I get, but I do definitely want one. In which case, Lando will be fantastic because you will definitely get one of those and you might get two. You might get one of each, which is really good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Leia Organa, and this looks seriously good.
Oh, yeah.
At the start of the activation phase, you may spend 3 charge. During this phase, each friendly ship reduces the difficulty of its red maneuvers. She has 3 charges and they recharge, meaning if you spend it, you must wait another 3 turns to get it back. I don't care. This is really good.
Yeah.
This has no range restriction. Yes, massive thumbs up. Oh boy. This is an Alpha Strike and a half. Yeah, this and Jyn Erso, I think is going to offer your ships a lot of versatility. I'm particularly looking at this on a B Swarm.
Yeah.
If you can say, like, get 4 generic B-Wings, one with Leia, one with Jyn, assuming they still have the crew slot. We don't know what's going on with the slots with them. They might have Gunner instead.
Yeah.
Although there's no Gunner that seems to work with B-Wings right now, so I'm going to guess it is a crew. These ships are going to be really versatile. That's really good. The reason I say B-Wings in particular is because of those 1-speed Talon rolls. It means you can do that and then take a target lock.
Literally spin on a dime.
Or a barrel roll, and
Oh,
I think we're both in agreement.
Nasty.
This is good. I mean, it sucks that you have to wait 3 turns to use it again, but I think
I don't think that really matters that much.
No, I mean, I was a big proponent of Contraband Cybernetics in first edition, which is a one-off card that lets you execute red maneuvers and take actions while you're stressed. A really costly way of powering out actions after you take a K turns and stuff like that, but I still love that card. This just stops you from taking stress altogether. This just seems really, really powerful. And yes, I know the costings, Nick. Don't get too excited. It might be the rumoured 30 points like Luke is. I don't know. I think... Yeah, Leia, it strikes me as there might be an archetype around Leia. We might have like Leia Aces or Leia Swarms or something like that.
Even that name just sounds cool as well,
It does, and she was so useless in first edition. I'm just so happy to see a really cool, relevant ability on her. So, really looking forward to Leia Organa, that's for sure. Luke Skywalker.
The Gunner. 1 force. At the start of your engagement phase, you may spend 1 force to rotate your turret indicator.
Okay, guys, click the annotation up here. I made an entire video on Luke Skywalker because a lot of people are concerned about this. Basically, the problem a lot of people have with this card is he seems to break the ethos of second edition somewhat because you can rotate your arc after all your opponent's aces fly. And because there's no veteran instincts or auto thrusters in the game anymore, it kind of feels a bit unfair from that point of view. However, it has been pointed out to me since I made that video that people at the expo, Alex Davies was there, and he was telling people apparently that he cost 30 points. And that makes me breathe a big sigh of relief.
If he costs 30 points, hardly... I don't think it even makes him usable to a certain extent.
I think he'll be okay in like mediocre lists. Yeah. But I don't think he'll make top tier lists.
And as you said in the other video, there's better gunners.
I look particularly at Bistan and I go, look, even Bistan doesn't cost much less than Luke.
Yeah.
Taking 2 shots out the arc is going to be so good.
If you have played with Asajj or Ketsu Ono and you know how to play with...
Yeah, those mobile firing arcs, man. It's so much fun. I loved them in first edition. And look, this is an unprecedented ability. There was nothing on Asajj Vengeance or Ketsu Ono that let you watch what your opponent did, then move the arc towards them. If there was, it would have made those pilots way too good because they were already really, really good. And yeah, I think Luke Skywalker is just going to be okay. I don't think he's going to break anything. I don't like that FFG chose to do this. I wish they just didn't take the risk because I think a more conservative approach to a redesign of the game would have been better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's fine. I think he'll just be okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, better gunners.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I do want to point out, because we do have an unprecedented points value on a card, 30 points, or in old speak, 15 points. We've never had a crew, or we've never had gunners before, but we've never had upgrade cards that cost that much. This kind of opens up the possibility to one-chip builds. If we have cards that cost this much, particularly Luke and C-3PO, if there's a really efficient Falcon build, for example.
Okay.
Like a fat Han that's so fat he takes up the entire list.
Super fat Han.
Or if you can only afford like one Z or something like that, that also seems interesting. It's just something that we could never do in first edition. Like the most expensive, efficient builds cost 60 to 65 points.
Yeah.
Any more than that, and you're overbloating your ship and you're just going to lose games. So that is a possibility moving forward. Again, this is just all rumours unsubstantiated. We don't have costings on other cards confirmed yet, so this is just based on what we're seeing. Moving on to Near Numb, another really good upgrade actually. Decrease the difficulty of your bank maneuvers. The old Near Numb used to say all your straight maneuvers are green.
Yeah.
And this is really, really good. The old Near Numb was meant to play around with the Lando card. The new Near Numb plays around with new Lando really well.
Yeah.
If you put Near Numb on Lando, all your banks and straights at speed 1, 2, 3 are blue. Ooh. And then whenever you execute any of those, he can take a free action, or any friendly ship at range 0 to 3 can take a free action.
Yeah.
Which includes him rotating his arc. I think Near Numb is a big reason I think Fat Lando is going to be a thing.
Near Numb, Lando, Bistan.
Yeah. Bistan, I think, because I think scenarios where you're going to be able to take multiple shots out the arc at the same target is going to occur more. However, let's be frank, we've never had the option to shoot out the front and rear in big ships before.
Yeah,
so maybe Han, I dig this a lot. I'm not sure about this with other ships. We'll have to wait and see. If the B-Wing has a crew slot, it means that those 3 banks that are red becomes white.
Yeah.
Could be good. I don't know, whatever. Although B-Wings seem to want to take stress with some of their builds, so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I like the concept behind this. I think it's had a nice boost in power level and will be very useful moving forward.
Next, we have the crew version of R2-D2. During the end phase, if you are damaged and not shielded, you may roll 1 attack die to recover 1 shield. On a hit result, expose one of your damage cards.
Yes, this is a functional reprint of the first one. And it doesn't say randomly expose one of your damaged cards, so I don't know. Do you think it's still random? If you happen to know which one's which, like if one of them was like get too stressed and immediately flip, could you then choose that?
Choose it?
I don't know. It's a bit hard to say. I think that's going to be clarified in the rules, because there were at least a few things in first edition that did get to flip damage cards, and there was never any clarifications whether you get to choose which one or whether you're allowed to provide yourself with prior knowledge. So
and people always use the prior knowledge.
Exactly, like with Saboteur and that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I'm not sure how this is going to interact, but I'm going to guess this is just the same as the old one. We also have the Astromech version of R2-D2, which we've had previously revealed. But thanks to a new article that just came out today, we can see that he has had his wording cleaned up. We previously revealed a demo version of the cards in the core set, and there was inconsistent wordings between R2-D2 and R2 Astromech. Also a couple of the other Astromechs that had exactly the same ability. And now we can see that they have the exact same wording on both, so that's no longer an issue. Basically, you get regen, but it's conditional. After you reveal your die, you may spend 1 charge and gain 1 disarm token to recover 1 shield. Maximum of 3 times a game. Fair, fair, fair. Next up, we have Sabine Wren, and we previously talked about this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Set up, place 1 ion, 1 jam, 1 stress, and 1 tractor token on this card. After that ship suffers the effect of a friendly bomb, you may remove 1 of these tokens and pop it on that ship. It's a good soft nerf on Sabine. It speaks to her creativity. It speaks to the versatility of the way she's able to adapt to certain situations. I think this is going to have a slightly higher ceiling than the older one, but won't be as consistent. Just pure and simple. No more direct damage. Thank you, FFG. We hate it. But this is occasionally going to make you ionize into a rock or roll you onto a rock with a tractor beam. It's going to be really annoying, just not quite as consistently powerful as the old one. Last up, we have Zeb Aurelius. You can perform primary attacks at range 0. Enemy ships at range 0 can perform primary attacks against you. Range 0 is speak for touching you, so this is a functional reprint of Zeb Aurelius from first edition. The main difference is that Zeb no longer has to state inside your firing arc. Because there's no turrets anymore, no longer has to clarify that, because if your turret's pointing at them, that would still be inside your firing arc, so that's fine. It means the Ghost can still use a turret sideways with Zeb, which plays into the new way that turrets work, so I think that's fair enough. And, still going to be a fun card. If it's still 0 points, I think this is going to see play easily. If it's 1 point or 2 points, I think it's still good. And for Rebel unique cards, that's what we have so far spoiled. We assume this is everything, although we did mention that Maul is missing for some reason. Up here on the screen in front of us is everything that was not included in this pack. And for the most part, I look at these cards and I think, these are cards that had certain combos and stuff that had real efficiency, and they don't really need to occur in the second edition of the game.
All their droids.
All their droids, yeah, exactly. We have R2-D2, and that's pretty much it on the Rebel faction for the time being. There were also some Resistance droids, which obviously weren't included. If they are going to occur in the game again, they'll be in the Resistance conversion pack, and they'll be Resistance only. No Kyle Katarn or Jan Ors, sadly. Although Jan Ors was represented on Jyn Erso, and Kyle Katarn is kind of playing around too much with the same space as Kanan Jarrus. Maybe when the Hawk gets released, they'll be released separately as well. Remember, there are also these extra pilot packs that we're getting alongside every single wave that gives us new pilots. And we don't know whether or not they'll have upgrade cards. I hope they do, because I'd love to see Kyle and Jan make it back into the game. No Dash or Lebo, which sucks as well. But again, they're EU characters. They're not really concerned about that too much. And Dash Rendar on the YT2400 is already really powerful.
Yeah.
He seems to have gotten significant upgrades, so I don't think we really need the crew version of Dash as well. No Bodhi Rook. It's a bit sad. No Captain Rex. I don't know. They've really trimmed down on like the big pantheon of Rebel crew that they've got. There are a lot of Rebel crew in first edition. Rightly so. They're the main characters of almost every single story. So, I think that's fine. Captain Rex and Bodhi never really saw play anyway. And again, they might be reintroduced with some extra packs moving forward.
Captain Rex maybe for the Republic?
Yes.
That would be nice.
Again, we're seeing a lot of characters pulled off the Rebel faction, which leads me to think that, yes, they might be experimenting with the space to play around with CIS and Republic. However, Captain Rex is on the TIE Fighter still.
Yeah.
But still, if there's going to be a good relevant crew version, it makes sense to put him on the Republic and not in the Rebellion, that's for sure. Really cool. We'll see if any of these cards make it back into the game at some stage, but for the time being, that's all the Rebel-specific cards we have so far. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.